What's up? Welcome to the day trade recap. I'm wrapping this up pretty early this morning. I think I'm done for the day. I've done really well. Today was one of those days where it was just bottom bounces. That's all I played. I played one stock that was totally like 44% in the red, and it climbed out of that hole big time, and it's actually in the green now. So it was a fun trade. And the other stock was a similar setup, wasn't as bad in the red or anything like that, but it was a similar looking chart. Anyway, BYND Beyond was the first one in pre-market. And I took a little scalp in pre-market, but what I saw in this one, and like I said, it was deeply red, 44 or something like that, 44 in the red, 44% red during pre-market. I don't remember exactly how bad it was, but it got it all back, right? So it's actually in the green right now on the day. But what I saw was this big sell-off right here, this big, huge drop, right? That tells me, hey, we got a gap fill opportunity coming ahead. Let's get in on this thing. So at 6:40 in the morning, my time, it was just a little, I was looking for it to prove this yellow line, which is my 200 EMA. I wanted it to prove that as support, and then I would take it to this first level, this first target line that I had, which was kind of proven right back here. It's a level that I drew, based on this over here. So I knew it was going to be a significant level. It was tops and bottoms. It had been resistant. So I thought, well, if it can prove this yellow line of support, it'll go there. It'll go there, no problem. Okay. It'll probably at some point break that. But for now, all I want is a little scalp. That was $1 range. I was interested in it. So I did. I got in. This is my classic signal right here. This candle following a doji. It was bigger than a doji. So I got in at $19.95. My target was $20.80, so almost $1. I actually got out a little bit, right around $20.80, so it was good. And it only took like not even really 2 minutes. And so that was fast and that was easy. And that also showed me, hey, this thing's holding this level. I just watched it, let it see if it was going to hold this 200 EMA, and sure enough, it did. Here was the next little play. Once it got really compressed right here, all my EMAs. That's another thing I like to find is when all the EMAs get really compressed, I'll look for the first candle above that. I took it to this level right here, this line that I had drawn. That was 22.66. And that's what I told the trade room that I have with the clients, that's going to be a mid-level target. And I based it on this gap down and what the candles had been doing on that gap down. So, and again, I use Heikin-Ashi candles. Not very many people use them, but I like them because they're a great confirmation candle. Right? Confirmation for my entries. So I'm able to get really good entries using these Heikin-Ashis. It takes a little getting used to. Some people don't like them, but I love them. It's one of the reasons I have such a high percentage win rate. Okay, so the next trade was here. We had a little pullback to support, right? It found this support level, didn't even hit VWAP, which was interesting. And this is a high short interest stock, so you have to be really careful, but you can trade these things. I knew it wanted to fill the gap. So here we are at, on this one, I was able to get in at $22.03. I was going to monitor market structure. It halted on this one. That was a little nerve wracking, but I felt like, hey, this thing's just getting started. It'll keep going up to the gap fill. So I stayed with it through that halt. This one, it halted here also, and I got a little nervous there, but I stayed with it and planned to sell. And I got out at $25.75, which is exactly where I told my students that I would get out, right here. It's all in the trade room. If you're in there, you can see that, hey, this thing played out like I said it was going to. It pulled back at that level. So here was another opportunity, right, to get to this next line, which was 28.36, and it did that. Right. And then it hovered at that line for a while. How did I get that line on that chart? How did I know that was significant? Well, lots of tops and bottoms over here, right? You get good at drawing these lines. At that point, I felt like it had filled the gap based on what I was seeing back here. It kind of filled the gap, right? Tops and bottoms. That was we do have this line up here, but in order for it to get to this line, it has to prove this level as support, which it has not done yet. So it started to sell off. It sold back down to this level, which was that initial 25.75. It's actually a little above that, but we're hoping that it holds this. If it holds this, it may try for a little range trade from here to here. And then I'm still going to look for, for it to hold this as support, and then it can go to this one. But these are nice ranges. And once it gets to this one, who knows? Maybe it'll go to that one. That's 30 to 35, 60, whatever. That's a big gap there too. But for now, we're just dealing with this. So it's just a matter of going level to level, knowing how to draw these lines and understand that that's where the stock is going to, and that's what it needs to make as support, or it'll be resistance. So another stock that I looked at during pre-market was CGEM. It's a pharmaceutical stock. It had news. As you can see, it had been selling down for quite a while. It popped up during pre-market very, very quickly on this news, and it's a higher float stock. So to see it popping up like this was, I mean, it's not a high float, but it was a higher float than a lot of these pharma companies are. It was like one candle or two candles. And then it just hovered there. So I kind of felt like, yeah, this probably is done. It wasn't wanting to make this level. And I told the room that, hey, this is a 950 is a significant, that's a resistance level. When I saw that it couldn't hold that, it popped through it once to make a new high of day, but then it just failed and it couldn't restore that as support. It never really actually claimed that as support ever. It's never been support. So I knew it was going to be resistance. Here it proved resistance. Here it's broke through it, but it's just not making it support. It may eventually, and if it does, I told them that if it can make that as support, then we've got room to here, possibly here. But, initially it'll be this level, and then who knows, maybe there. But that's between here and there, that's like a 50-cent range. Between here and there, that's almost $1. So that will be interesting to me if it can do that. But today, I don't know. It just wasn't moving, so I quit watching it. I pretty much quit watching it hours ago. Carvana was the other one. This one, to me, the chart looked a lot like BYND, BYND. And I'll show you what I mean. It had this little gap right here. You see that? It had this gap, actually a higher gap, because if you go back and look, this is a 15-minute chart. Let me put it on a 30 and you can see a little bit better all my lines that I drew in here. And look how it's treated those lines. It actually went up to the 200 EMA. But here we had this level. If you go to the daily chart, let me check the daily chart and see what I drew. So you can't really use the daily chart unless you're really good at finding tops and bottoms. And so right now price is, in this level right here. So it's just a matter of having to find tops and bottoms, or you can drill down and look at a 4-hour chart. Maybe that'll help you. It helps you see the tops and bottoms a little bit better. You can drill down to a 2-hour chart, and you can see that I was finding tops and bottoms really easily on this one. It had this little gap fill, and this was really an easy level to find right up here. You see that? And look how it's treating that level right now. So, you have this level to this level, and that's right where it is. So initially, this big gap to here from 31.20 to 35, I took it at $36.40. So I waited. This was a retest. I didn't get in there on that one. I missed that one, but I did get in here, and I got in at $36.40 on this one. And then we halted here. See, and I was just monitoring market structure because it had kind of treated this line a little bit as resistance, but do you see how it held it as support really well right here? Candles didn't want to go below that. So that was encouraging right at that line. So I stayed with it because all my lines were pointing up and it was holding it. So I stayed with it, and then we halted right at my target. This double line was my target. And I told the my coaching clients in the trade room way back that, hey, I was looking at this as a target, $41. And I told them that I was going to get out there, and it hit that, and then it halted. So I got out right at my target, and then it halted. So I was not stuck in that halt. Then we had this other little setup here, which was, it had sold down from, what was it, $44.80 or whatever, down to this line, right? And it held that line. Beautiful. So I got in on this one at $40.39. And I thought, hey, we've got a $4 range. And that's what I did. I just got out right here at 44.05. I was able to get out, and it just started to go back down again. But that was a nice little $4 range. So if you see something like this, it's holding support, right, on this line. We did have this double line, but I also saw this line, which was drawn from the daily chart, right? This level here. It held that level as support and popped right back up, a little bit higher than the previous high, but pretty darn close. So it was basically a double top at this point. But that's how I traded that little play there. So $4 there, and did really well on this one, like $5 a share here. So a $9 a share between the two trades on Carvana. And then, BYND was really easy. It just kept printing money all day long. So anyway, that's how the trades went for Carvana and BYND. I looked at a couple of other stocks. If you go to my Ride is, I didn't trade it because it's cheap and I don't like it, but it was one of these bottom bounces, right? We had this big sell off. If you go to the 5 minute chart, it looks a little more dramatic, kind of like the other charts that we were looking at. It was this big sell off, but that wasn't even the one that caught my attention. It had been selling off on the daily chart for a long time. We had this gap fill opportunity here that was interesting to me. So I thought maybe it might try to do that today, but it might be over the course of a couple of days, maybe tomorrow, right? And that's what I'm looking at, because here's this range. Once you get, let me put it on the 5 minute chart. Can't really see it. Once you get above here, it's a big range. It's like a 40 or 50 cent range. Let me put it on a higher 30 minute so you can see that right here. It's a 60 cent range to $3. So it has to get above here. This is going to be some resistance, but once it gets above here, improves and gives a signal, then I'll take it to that. That'll be interesting to me. Today, right now, though, it's just choppy kind of, so I'm not too interested in there. So I didn't take it, but I am watching it. Our IVN is kind of another one of these bottom bounce opportunities. Whoops. This is a stock that I have looked at many times in the past. I have a lot of lines on here. But yeah, it's got some room between 26 and 28, a $2 range there. That'll be a fun little play. Just it tagged this line right here. So we need to get some support and then it'll go. And it may eventually get up to 33. I don't know. But I think that was it, right? This one kept hitting my scanner. It's got a big gap, but I don't know that it can do it. See this big sell-off gap. I don't know. We're below a lot of resistance, but maybe. This is the 30-minute chart. So see, it looked just like that other stock, but right now, if it holds this and gives a good buy signal, it might go from 25 to 32. It's just got this really big gap down, and I need to see some positive signals for it to hold this level as support. And we're just getting little ones. So right now they're just scalping it to these previous levels, and it's actually making lower highs, which isn't too encouraging. I mean, it made higher highs for a minute, right here, and now it's making lower highs. So I don't know. But see, it's because it's been dealing with this previous chop area. BKKT was the other one that hit my scanner. Let me take a look. It's a financial one, and it made this little. It's already done the gap fill, right? See, it sold down, then it ripped to this level. You see how it's treating my lines, and I just base them on previous levels, right? And so it's just bouncing around in this chop area, and now it's probably gonna, sell off, but I didn't trade it. But anyway, if you need any help at all, just let me know. And if you want to get some really cool tips, a template, a trade template, a free trade template, you just visit my masterclass. It's a free masterclass on momentumstocktraders.com. You don't even have to put your email in. It's just free. I don't ask for anything. Just go ahead and check that out. It'll help you out a lot. And then if there's anything else I can help you with, let me know, and I'll be happy to work with you. Hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you have a great day. We'll talk soon.